Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Welcome back to the second episode of Model Car Genealogy. I'm here with my partner in crime right here, Chris Martin, and
Hey, howdy, everybody.
we are here to attack another, well, some get all scientific and look into the genealogy of another kit.
Explore another family tree.
We're gonna explore another family tree. And Chris, what are we gonna be talking about?
Keeping with the theme that I kind of started with the first episode, eagle-eyed viewers, if you look over my shoulder here, this will give you an idea of what we're going to be covering. And as I'll demonstrate, these are all actually essentially the same kit.
So we figured this is a great subject because it just so happens as Revell has just re-released the 77 Chevy street pickup or a little hot rod pickup. Man, I've always liked this kit. It's pretty interesting. Some don't like it,
It's a
some like
really
it, but this is a cool kit.
well, it's a really interesting kit. Um, and what you see here on the box is actually for this box art is a very good representation of what you get in the box. That being said, if you are buying this kit to want to build a stock 77 C10, you're going to be quite disappointed
Yeah.
because there's no possible way to build a stock C10 out of what comes in this box.
No.
Where I'm going to show you why.
Yep, but it's still this thing has its good points. It's a neat little kit. It actually, as far as like the cab and the bed and everything built, like the way it looks right there on the box, you can build that, and it has a great look to it. I love the grill, that the way they did the grill and everything. So it has its good points. It definitely does, but it has quite the genealogy, doesn't it? There, Chris.
Oh, it goes back quite a ways.
It does. So take it away. Show us.
All right. So back in the late 70s, early 80s, so I am told, or so I have found. I can't attest to this because I didn't live it. Do you remember
Oh,
this time well, Matt?
I remember it well as a small child. I was a child of the 70s, coming of age.
So
So,
back back in the 70s, the the small pickup market relied exclusively on imported trucks. This was before the big three started developing their own vehicles, trucks any smaller than a half ton. So they were all almost exclusively imported from Japanese manufacturers, and they were all full width beds. So some enterprising companies, among them California Stepside, based out of Santa Clara. Uh, Santa Clara,
yep,
Sunnyvale. Anyway,
yep.
somewhere somebody will know. They came out with fiberglass conversions so that you could make a stepside for your uh, Datsun, your Chevy Love, Ford Courier, Mazda, Toyota, anything. So they made these conversions for all of those trucks. And at the time, up until I think it was the late 80s, the Revell was actually headquartered in Venice, California. So this was local to them, to the kit designers at Revell. They would have been familiar with this kind of a community because California Stepside, it's kind of started, made its way to the rest of the continent. And so then in 1977, Revell released some kits of the Chevy Love, the Ford Courier, and the Datsun, and they all had the California pickup or the California stepside pickup beds. And then they also had a custom parts pack for pickups that you could get. Now, in my research that I could find, I couldn't really find out if the company California Stepside made conversions for half tons or not. I think it was almost exclusively for the quarter ton pickups. But when Revell did this custom parts pack in 1977, um, the way they designed everything, they had the fenders were separate from the bed, and they could provide you with a quarter ton bed and a half ton bed. So it was a wider, longer bed, but
Hmm.
it was all the way the tooling was designed. You could have the same fenders could go on either one of them. So when they tooled this up, they, to save money and economies of scale, they tooled up the half ton version as well. And if you can see here in the catalog, new for 1977, you've got the Chevy Love and the Datsun Desert Rat, but also the Sneaky Pete.
Yep.
So this is where the Revell 77 C10 starts, is right here in 1977 with the Sneaky Pete.
That right there answers a few questions.
Right. So this is where it all started. Now, this was an entirely custom um, project, and it was actually designed by John Patera. Pretty much the only thing that's a stock Chevy pickup is the cab. So you have the fiberglass tilt hood, you have California stepside bed. The wheels here are completely custom. The engine is supposed to be a Chevy small block, and it kind of looks like one if you squint and use your imagination. But it can be convincingly a small block. So there's lots of custom parts in here. You have the vertical exhaust stacks. There's fuel tanks, chrome running boards. The roof of the cab actually has a hole in it, and there's this insert that goes on top that has the clearance lights and the air horns. And then you have your mirrors with the antennas, and yeah, it's a great little custom pickup. So then if we look at the chassis, this is a picture that I found of the original Sneaky Pete. And
Right there it
although the
is.
front axle isn't in here, you can see that this is nothing related to a stock C10.
No, it
So
almost looked
it
like
has
a
a
square
solid
tube.
axle.
Looks like a square tubular fabricated frame.
Well, and that's what I'm imagining, because like I said, it was designed by John Butera, and he did other kits for Revell. Maybe we'll cover it someday, but I have written an article on it, his Model T kit series. So I imagine that this is a completely fabricated chassis. It has leaf springs front and rear, and the front axle is just a solid beam axle, and the rear axle actually has a quick change, which is, I don't know
That's
why.
Yeah, it's like a regular Chevy integral type rear end, but yet it had the cover of of like a quick
Of a
change.
quick change. Yeah. Um, and then the other distinguishing feature of this kit that you can see is that because this came from 1977, the dash has a molded in CB radio
Ah,
because, that was the thing at the time.
and I have here a bag. It's still sealed. I don't really want to open it up, but I'm looking, and you can see. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Of course, it's right in the middle. That tree right there is in this. This is that Chevy pickup. Kind of see it right there. This is that
Yep.
stepside Chevy pickup. Sweet. There we go. The fenders,
Yep, you can
and
see the fender
it
there. Yep.
it has that frame in there. It's very
So
interesting.
this is essentially strike number one for why you cannot build a stock pickup out of it. Oh, that's the one. Okay, we'll get to that one
Yep.
later.
Yep. We'll get there. We're getting ahead. The lower right corner there is the leaf springs, 4 leaf springs, because it had
Yep.
a just a straight axle with leaf springs, which is not what a Chevy pickup had.
And it's kind of neat the way they did it. Well, neat, I don't know if it's good or bad, but like the shocks are molded as part of the leaf spring
Yeah,
pack.
which is in that kit that we're getting now, the re-release.
So then 1978 they reissued the Sneaky Pete again, just with different box art. But this one here, this shows you an actual built up kit. So it's a photo of the kit rather than the painting. and you can get a better idea of what you're in for in the box.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember
So, and
that
then
one.
also in 1978, they did a lot in 1978 for this kit family, I'll tell you. They did the Midnight Cowboy Custom Chevy Wrecker, which this is a 1 year only issue of this Wrecker configuration. So you get the Sneaky Pete front end and the Wrecker bed, and so some stuff that they added, the Wrecker body, um, and then you get the boom. You get some idler wheels to put the back wheel, or whatever end of the car isn't on the hook. The other end goes on the idler wheels, and then you get the weight counterweight with the grill guard up front. But everything else, the cab and they pretty much just swapped out the bed. But also, they didn't lengthen the chassis, which I gather is probably pretty strange for a wrecker to have, like the short bed chassis to have the wrecker bed on it. So it's a little funky, but it's a really neat kit if you can find it.
Yeah. It's amazing how I remember when that kit was out, and it was out for a long time because they were still producing it well into the mid '80s, and
Oh, really?
it was popular enough for them to sell it. But I remember by 84, 85, it was starting to die out, and nobody wanted the thing. People bought it for that wrecker bed, and they put it on other
Yeah.
things, but people didn't really like that. A lot of builders didn't really like that kit, and it kind of went away. That also kind of explains how it has I guess having the full axle with the leaf springs would be correct for doing a wrecker type pickup truck, because you would have those heavy duty
Yeah.
chassis.
A heavier duty truck would have the solid front axle.
Yeah.
But for what they did next, keeping that front axle was a little silly. So then also in 1978, Revell was actually running a contest where you could win this setup. You could win a 1978 Chevy K10 with the Art Cat El Tigre motorcycle. Um, and like the truck looked, well, mostly like this. So they modified the body, or sorry, they didn't modify, they created a new body to give you the factory Chevy front clip. So it's the
Hmm.
same cab, but well, the glass insert is the same. And if you look, you can see it still has the vertical exhausts and the same mirrors with the antennas. And the interior is the same as the Sneaky Pete, but it's an entirely new cab mold, because the hole in the roof that would have had the clearance lights and the air horns for the Sneaky Pete and the Midnight Cowboy. Um, this one here, and it still has the hole, but now it's a sunroof.
Hmm.
Why they didn't just mold it close, I'm not sure. And the rear bumper is the same. You still get the California Stepside bed, but it's got this custom front bumper there. And then another one in 1978. Who was, remind me, who was the president of the US in 1978?
It would have been Jimmy Carter. I was
Jimmy
there.
Carter. Well, Jimmy Carter had a brother, and
He
from what
did.
I can
He had a
gather,
brother.
the only thing that Billy Carter has going for him, his claim to fame, is that his brother was the president. I don't know why he was a popular figure, but he had his redneck power pickup, and so Revell decided to get some more mileage out of their tool for this truck, and they reissued this redneck power pickup. So it's pretty much the same thing as the Ice Patrol, but it has a wood looking front bumper. The roof insert came back for the clearance lights and the air horns. There's also the wood side rails that you can see there, and there's also like a little insert that goes in the bed, and it has like some moonshine kegs and
Yeah.
other redneck kind of accessories. This here is a good representation to show what's going to be coming up next. So the the black cab that you see in these pictures here, it's from a later issue that we're going to get to, but this is what the cab and like the roof insert and the underhood compartment looks like for the like the ice patrol and everything after. That's for a stock pickup. The white cab is from the later Snap Kit Wrecker issue, and you can see how the the hole in the roof is it's a different size. It's a little bit bigger to have that insert for the clearance lights and the air horns. And this body also has the molded in sun visor. But the biggest the biggest clue is if you look at the under hood compartment, aside from the engine and radiator insert, it's exactly the same. And then also the blue body that you see here, this is for the Blazer and the K10 snap kits that are the next issue that came out in this family for 1979. Even though this is pretty much an entirely brand new tool, it's based off of the original Ice Patrol body. So the hood is interchangeable, the glass is interchangeable, the grill is interchangeable, and it's all the same. But what's kind of weird about this one is that although this is a supposed to be a K10 with the full width bed, it's got the wheelbase and the body dimensions of a Blazer. So that bed
Mm.
is like 4 feet, if that.
Ah, yeah.
So it's got an entirely new um, chassis, and it has a 4x4 like factory front and rear axles, which for a 4x4 would are leaf springs again, but it's what would actually come in the truck. But you still don't have factory bumpers. So the rear bumper is the same, um, but the front bumper is this tube bumper here with driving lights and winch. Um, and another big thing here is that there's no chrome in these ones. So for
Mm.
these snap kits, it's molded only in well, for this one here, this molded in tan and black. And the tires are two-piece plastic. So this body here is all one piece. The roof isn't removable, um, but it's actually the correct roof for 77 and later Blazers. So it has the roof over the front part of the cab, and then the rear part is removable. Um, but this and the pickup from the previous slide are pretty much the identical kit. The front bumper is different. Like this has a really weird front bumper. Like it's gives you two-thirds of a factory bumper, but then it has this push bar that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's
And then there's this
kind of a
little
hybrid.
bit that goes on this this little bit that goes on the roof. It's a roof rack, and it's supposed to be a couple of sleeping bags and stuff like that, but it's all molded in, and it kind of looks a little crude. But all in all, it's not too bad of a kit. Um, it's the only for now. It is the only way to get a 77 to 80 Blazer because the MPC snap kit that's available is 73 to 74 because it has the full length removable roof.
Hmm.
78 was a big year. 79 is also a big year because they did a lot of reissues for this Blazer. So the previous slide there, it was molded in silver and black. This one here is tan and black. And other than that, it's the exact same kit. There's different decals that come in it, but this one here has like the black painted grill because, like I said, it's not chromed. and still it's got the two-piece tires and the Jackman style wheels. I never thought to take any pictures, but for the Blazer and the pickup snap kits, the interior has two bucket seats and a console. The rest of the kits have a bench seat, and that's what carries on uh, to the current iteration of this kit. This one here goes back to the bench seat. So in '79, they did a straight reissue of the Billy Carter truck. So this is pretty much the exact same thing. Just has different decals in it, but like it still has the wood front bumper, the moonshine accessories in the bed, the
Oh,
wood
good.
bed sides. Yeah, that's a great little fun thing.
You're watching the Luka C channel on YouTube.
So then, for 1980, they did a completely new tool, and although this is pretty much all new, it still shares the same dimensions and some interchangeability with the whole rest of this kit family. So, while at first glance it looks completely different, there are a few things that are still the same. So, um, this is it's a new chassis. This is finally a long wheelbase chassis. And although it has a solid front axle again, just like the Sneaky Pete did, this is based off of the Snap Kit tooling. So this front axle will interchange with the driven front axle that's in the Blazer and the pickup 4x4 kits. Other changes to this cab, the fenders are mostly stock. They're a little bit different to fit this strange grille. Um, and there's an integrated visor, which, remembering back to when I showed the pictures of the different cabs, um, so this has the integrated visor and it has a totally new roof insert that has the clearance lights and the air horns, but it also has this integrated airfoil that meets up with the sleeper. Now, the bed and the sleeper are all one piece for this kit. So you get the vertical exhaust, the fuel tanks. Although these are still two-piece plastic tires, these ones here are Goodyear Wranglers, whereas the Blazer and the pickup had they were BF Goodrich all-terrain TAs. The basic cab structure with the interior, the chassis, and these wheels and tires are what's going to continue for the rest of the iterations of this particular version. So this one was issued in the US and Canada under straight Revell branding, and it was molded in red and black. But also, it finally has chrome again. So all the chrome that you see on the box here is actual chrome plating in the kit. And to show another view of the built-up model, in Mexico under the Ludella brand, this was issued, but it was molded in blue and black. You may or may not have easier access to coming across Lodella kits than, someone up here in the north
Oh,
hanging off the east of the continent might,
maybe.
but, so then, finally here we get to the iteration that we're most familiar with. So this was also in 1980, and they modified the tooling to make a stock pickup, but interestingly enough, instead of making it a Chevrolet, Um, this is a GMC.
Oh,
It
really?
has Yeah, so it has a
That's
GMC
cool.
grille for the 1980 model year. It was a 1 year only. But there's no GMC badge on the grill, but it's a GMC grill. Um, and this is an entirely new wrecker setup. It's not related to the Midnight Cowboy at all. It's although it's a Holmes wrecker, um, apparently, at the time, Holmes offered a wrecker body that had like the bed, the body, the sides of the wrecker body were the same shape as the GM pickup line. If you can see, there's a little plaque on the boom, and if you look at it really closely, it says Holmes GMC. So it was some kind of a special collaboration that they had with GMC to make it fit the GMC body. Going based on past experience that I have heard and seen written about, GMC is notoriously difficult to get licensing for, and
Yeah.
they are very protective of their branding. So that could be why this has never had like a GMC badge on it. And the first several issues of this kit didn't have GMC on it either. Who knows? Maybe
I
somebody can let us know in the
yeah,
comments on this one.
I do remember back in the 80s, I there were a few service stations in my area here that had this particular wrecker, because what was very noticeable about it, how they kept for the wrecker bed, kept the body lines. I mean, that was a real thing. I remember those. I thought they were
Yeah,
real good looking wreckers because they kept the body lines in the wrecker bed.
this version of the Wrecker, um, because of this GMC specific body that it has, I'm sure it never was as popular as the Midnight Cowboy was for putting that wrecker body on other pickup kits. I mean, you could probably fabricate new bedsides for this because like the floor of the wrecker bed is a separate piece from the bedsides. So you
Yeah.
could make something that way, but to just swap this over to another truck, it doesn't work so well.
Hmm. Nice.
So for 1981, our Snap Kit pickup came back. Um, it's pretty much a straight reissue of the one that we saw before, only it's molded in blue and black. So back to uh, the BF Goodrich tires, but other than that, it's pretty much the exact same thing. And then also in 1981, I
Chips.
like I said, this is before my time. I gather that Chips was a very popular TV show.
Extremely popular, along with Starsky and Hutch, and you know,
Well,
yeah,
they had the Chips licensing. There were some other Chips kits that Revell came out with around this time, I do believe. But also from what I have seen, this truck, aside from the color and the stripes, it looks nothing like what John's truck actually was. Like I think his truck was actually a Stepside.
oh, really? Whoops.
Yeah. So this is that they had the licensing, they had this kit in their tooling inventory, you know, s- smash them together. The kids are not going to notice that this isn't what the truck actually looks like. Eh, who knows?
Yeah.
Um, Certainly, the Revell of today has no interest in doing this kind of a thing anymore. They're actually tooling up a completely new Blazer for another licensing that they have.
Oh,
Whether or
really?
not it's going to end up being related to this remains to be seen. I imagine that this probably, just like for the Roadrunners and the Monacos, the Dukes of Hazzard licensing probably
Yeah.
commands a price premium, although it shouldn't, because this
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Tell me about
it's the
it.
same old kit. Also in 1981, this is one of the reasons why I have heard people say that the Revell square body pickup is their favorite square body kit because it has so many neat versions, neat variations that it came out with.
Yeah.
So for the Sandman here, the base pickup itself is pretty much a straight reissue of the Big Red and Billy Carter pickup, but you also get now the dune buggy and a trailer, and they're going to get a lot of mileage out of this trailer. Believe you me. Although there's no chrome in this one, everything is molded in either black or yellow. So the basic truck body is yellow. Um, the rest of it is molded in black. The trailer and the dune buggy are all molded in black, I do believe. Um, but yeah, I mean this is a really neat set, and it's something that Revell got away from for a long
Yeah.
time, but they're kind of starting to get back into it. This, the exact same trailer and dune buggy are what they reissued a couple of years ago with the early Bronco half cab.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
exactly.
where that came from.
I'm really hoping one of these days I find at a swap meet that someone bought that kit just because they wanted that Bronco, and I'd love to get a hold of the little dune buggy. I've wanted that dune buggy forever. I've never been able to land one.
It's
It's a
it's a
cool little thing.
really neat piece.
It is. It's a very cool little dune buggy.
So then the next issue is this time they did a set with the pickup, the 4x4 pickup. So this is the same as the Chips truck and the same pickup.
You
Um,
kind of see
the
a
trailer,
pattern here.
so the trailer is the same as with the dune buggy. It has some different deck inserts to be able to hold these motorcycles. I have this kit, but
Oh yeah.
I didn't go dig it out to look in it. I can't remember. I think that the dirt bikes are the same. Like they're not two different ones. Like I think it's just two trees of the exact same dirt bike,
Oh really?
and I I want to say it's Husqvarna. Don't quote me 100% on that because I mean there's no branding on the box. There's no
Yeah.
decals other than the the numbers there. So I do not know dirt bikes well at all. Um, and this kit came out the same year I was born, so I don't remember.
Oh, you're just a young.
uh,
Oh, I remember these, the stompers. Ah,
so this was another big craze in the 80s. The Stomper. They had a whole line of little motorized toys. So I think they took batteries and then you kind of just you turned it on and set it down and it just went. For this line of kits, they tooled up the new Stomper wheels, or no, sorry, the Stomper tires. Those wheels are actually the same wheels that were in like the Ice Patrol and
yeah.
the Billy Carter pickup.
Yep.
Um, it has a raised suspension to be able to fit the Stomper wheels. Um, but this is the same Blazer. It just has the Stomper chassis or the Stomper wheels and suspension. So they did a Blazer and they did the pickup, and then they also did the Dune buggy again.
There's
So
the dune
this one
buggy.
here is the Blazer. It's the same trailer in the Dune buggy, but the trailer went from a tandem to a single axle because you could only fit one Stomper wheel on there.
Look at how lifted that you can see that the bar that's takes the leaf spring way low, so it's lifted.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just yeah, don't think too much about the suspension geometry because it'll scare you.
Yeah.
An interesting little tidbit that I discovered while researching and finding these images. These Stomper kits were also released in Mexico under the Lodella branding, but
Oh
for
yeah.
whatever reason, the company that owns the Stomper trademark um, wouldn't let it. That Revell couldn't use it in Mexico, so the
Really?
Lodella boxings don't have anything about Stomper on them, and even the Stomper tires on the like, 'cause it's the exact same box art. The Stomper tires are airbrushed so that you can't see the Stomper letters, but in the box, it's still Stomper.
Yep. Just can't have it on the outside where you know it can be commercially seen.
Yeah, it's kinda weird.
These companies.
Yeah.
There it is.
So now in 1987, we get to the version of the kit that's still around today. So they made some modifications to the tooling. Um, Instead of having bumpers at all, now you just have a roll pan front and rear. The interior is the same, the glass is the same as like the Ice Patrol. You get the sunroof. They modified the engine. So up until now, the engine that was included was a carbureted 350, and
Yeah.
for this version, they switched to the tune port injection. So you get the tune port air intake, and I think it just goes to an air filter. And then also there's a side exit exhaust setup so that it comes out right behind the cab there. You got your 4 outlets on each side. And then the wheels, I have no idea what the brand of these wheels are. I don't I mean, they're very
Those
80s
were,
looking.
yeah,
They
those
kinda look
were
like
I can't remember their call, but they were put out by Krager.
okay.
That particular wheel right
Um,
there.
oh, yes.
They're
There we go.
they're yeah, they are not wonderful by any means.
No, they they don't look all that great. I mean, they did a really good job on this box
Yeah.
art build up to make it look pretty good. But the first few issues of this version, have two-piece tires as well. Um, they're big and little, so you get that bit of a rake. Which I mean, the suspension is still the same as it always has been, with the
Yeah,
leaf sprung
it still
solid
has that
axles
front,
front and rear.
yeah, with the molded in shock onto the
Right.
springs.
So the only way they were able to get the rake was just bigger tires for the back. That's the version of that kit that went all the way until today.
Yeah. Oh, and look, I found. Can you see what that is? There's that rear end cover
Oh, the quick change.
that makes it look like a quick change, but it's really not a quick change rear end. They just added that. I don't know if we
Oh,
can get
no.
that to focus, but yeah,
So they did, a couple of different box art versions. It's, pretty much the same basic kit, in 1987, so there was with the hot rod licensing, and so
well,
this is the version that you have, I do believe,
yeah, which was mold. This one
and
was molded in white, so that's like the only one that was molded in
thankfully.
white up until this latest one.
Yeah, the hot rod ones were molded in black. So this one here is the Mach 1 Formula 1 team. The pickup is the same. I think it has different wheels. Like it doesn't have those Kragers in it. I don't think. Um, but it has the the
The-
Revell large boat trailer that was issued with a lot of different combination kits.
Yeah,
And you get the hydrofoil race boat.
actually, I have the wheels right here. If you can see in this picture,
Oh yeah, since they first came out
yeah,
with it in 1987. They keep changing the wheels. So there was those Kragers, there's these ones here in this issue.
yeah,
Later issues will swap back and forth, but the wheels are constantly changing. So 1981, this was a special uh, promotion that Revell did with Kmart, I believe it was.
I think so. Yeah,
So you would get special twin packs. They did a bunch of these with different kits that they had in their inventory. But what's notable about this one is that although it's pretty much it's identical to the 1987 reissue, only this is molded in metallic green instead of black,
yeah,
and it has the exact same decal layout, but they're also in green instead of the red.
yeah,
Um, Very difficult to find this one. I don't know that they
and that's
did a
okay
lot of
with me.
them, maybe?
Yeah, I remember it. It's totally okay with me. I'm not brokenhearted that it's a tough one to find because I'm not looking.
So, 1994, we come back with the Wrecker. It's the exact same thing as Captain Hook, although by this time, although this reissue still has the plastic tires,
Mhm.
this is starting to get into the era where Revell's and Monogram are getting away from tire branding. So these have smooth sidewalls. Everything else here is a straight carryover from the Captain Hook, although it's molded in red. Captain Hook was molded in black, but you get your
Yeah,
chrome. Uh, and another reissue, this time with Revell and Monogram branding, but it's the exact same box art, just slightly well. The picture of the truck on the box, it's the exact same picture, but the box art changed a little bit. And then in 1996, the street pickup came back. This is the same as the hot rod reissue. This gives you here.
But I love
I
that
don't know if it's
version.
just. Well, yeah. See, this is kind of the most iconic one that you see, and you can really see the tire detail on this one. I think these are still two-piece.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they're horrible,
they're
but
well, and they're not plastic, but they're not quite vinyl either.
right, they were like yeah, they were kind of like a softer plastic, like kind of squishier plastic, kind of sort of weren't flexible by any means like vinyl tires, but they were, of course, they were
Right.
two piece, but
But and the moral of the story is that regular model glue won't hold them together. You gotta
yeah,
use something else. Shoe goo, I guess, is the favored one.
and I got
And then straight reissue, the same box art, 1998. So, 2001,
oh
for the
boy,
Blacktop Warrior series, the Sneaky Pete came back. This
yay,
time as the Alley Rat, but this this was the only reissue of the straight up Sneaky Pete since 1978. So it came back for this one release. There's other kits in this series for the Blacktop Warriors, but it's pretty much a straight reissue. So this is what tells me anyway that the starting with the Ice Patrol, they tooled up a new body. Like they didn't modify the Sneaky Pete body, they created a new one because this exists. I would I I know as common sense as this may be, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that for 2001 Revell, nobody would have been silly enough to go and revert the tooling back to the create this and then do it again. So they must have had a separate body because no one
I
in the
would
right mind is going to
imagine.
modify a stock.
Yeah. I would imagine that the bot, because it was a flip nose. Imagine the body tooling
Yeah,
is you know they're based off the same probably buck, but because it was just a, if this came before the pickup that we have today, um, then they had to take that cab and tool up a stock front end and all that, and then mold it to the cab where this was a separate piece. Yeah. And then those distinctive
yeah,
flares that are on the rear fenders around the wheel well.
yes,
That shows you right there the connection between the genealogy between the two kits. There, first time using it throughout the show.
yeah, yeah. You can see the genes quite clearly.
You can.
So 2004, we go back to the. This is this is into the period where I start to get kind of irritated, uh,
Yeah.
because this is not a 76. This pickup has never been a 76. It's always been a 77.
Yeah.
Um, but there's been a period of time where Revell has branded this as a 76. Frustrating. But anyway, so this is pretty much the same as the like it has the same graphics layout and everything as the hot rod issue, and it has the
Yeah.
the same wheels and tires. Um, but it's molded in yellow.
Yes. And this is like the only complete kit that I have is this one. And yes, it's molded in yellow. And that has always been a, that's why I
Very,
got a hold of that
very
white.
yellow.
Uh, that's why I got a hold of the white bagged kit mainly because I was wanting to try to make a dually out of this, but I wanted the colors I wanted to paint it was white, and I knew I was going to have issues with that yellow plastic.
Oh yeah. So this is a straight Reeboks, also in 2004. It's the exact same thing as the previous one. Oh, this is a Walmart exclusive, I believe it is.
Was that Walmart that did the
Um,
Motorworks?
yeah, and Man, oh man, I sure would love to be able to buy this kit for $7.44 now,
Yeah,
40
right.
years later.
Yeah.
That's quite the inflation.
Well, I tell you what, that was like
Mm.
a super deal even back then. We were buying those up when they put those up because an average kit, I think at that time, the average price for a kit was close to $12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a really good deal. That was whenever the companies did those Walmart exclusives, it was always, oh, got to grab a Walmart kit. And then you would go to the swap meets and you get angry because you'd see all those kits for regular retail price. Guys are selling because they're going to double their money.
In 2012, the Captain Hook kit came back. This time they actually branded it as GMC, although still no GMC badge on the grill. And it's actually a 1980. It's not a
And
77. It's pretty much a straight reissue of the red wrecker truck that we last saw. Um, with the notable change being this one's molded in white, and it for the first time has vinyl tires. Although they're a blank sidewall, these are the 24th scale Goodyear Wranglers that Monogram had in all of their 4x4 kits.
oh, really?
But these are the same. Yeah, these are the same tires. Strangely enough, they fit those wheels because the wheels are the same as they've always been. The rear wheels are kind of funny.
Yeah,
Instead of
they're
there being instead of there being two separate wheels per side, you get an extremely deep dish wheel.
yes.
And so now we come to today, which is the
Uh,
version that just came out this year. Actually, I think just last month it came
Boy, they
out.
went 80s with
Um,
this one, didn't they?
oh, they sure did, and the graphics are like the decal sheet that comes with it is quite 80s as well.
Really?
Um, the only thing that they've done to this is that it's finally molded in white again. Um, the glass, although is quite dark tint. It's not clear. And they
Oh,
tooled up new wheels, which are these kind of American Racing Gambler looking wheels.
yeah.
Uh, uh, and then the tires are vinyl, but I think they're the same tires that are in the '66 Malibu flip nose
Oh, no
that
kidding.
they just reissued last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's those same tires, and they tooled up the wheels to fit those tires. Oh, excuse me.
Very,
Um,
very interesting.
yeah, and so different offsets. I think they're both the same diameter, but yeah. So unfortunately, like I said when we started off, if although they finally got it right, this is a '77 Chevy pickup. If you are
Yeah.
looking to build a factory '77 pickup, that's not what you're going to get. Um, but considering what it started as, hopefully you understand why it exists as it does.
Yeah. It makes for a really cool looking hot rod truck. I have a couple of them, but I'm really thinking of, first of all, I love the looks of this box art. It's very cool. But
Oh
I'm
yeah,
thinking of picking this one up. It's molded in white. The other one I have is molded in yellow. That's nice. But I want to see those 80s graphics they got going down the door there. I
oh yeah, they're
definitely
pretty
might have
sweet.
being an 80s kid. Well, I was a young adult in the 80s. That was cool looks, man. We like that stuff. That's super cool. I'm
Yeah,
glad they brought this back. I've always liked this truck, and it gives you an opportunity to do some neat stuff. I've done some cool things with these trucks, with that frame being very basic and almost look like a fabricated square tube frame. You can just go in so many directions with it.
yeah. I've fiddled around swapping parts myself. The NPC line of square body kits are very close in dimensions to these.
Yeah.
So the bed from the NPC kits will fit. and well, I'll say fit, but they line up with the body pretty good. I have a built uh, a truck that I built out of the 4x4 pickup, like with the Blazer body, but it's a pickup. Um, I built that with using the whole chassis and suspension and everything from an NPC deserter kit,
Yeah.
and everything fits on it well. Then the bumpers even mate to the body well, and then I have one of the Blazers on the go doing the same thing using the NPC chassis underneath. Everything fits pretty good, and I've also been fiddling around with some 3D printing files that I found to try to do the factory bumpers and the factory fenders for that bed. Finding a chassis, an appropriate two-wheel drive chassis. I haven't been able to find a factory one, but I mean, any of the
Well,
companies like Iceman has a truck chassis that would fit under that quite well, I'm sure.
oh yes, absolutely. And I did make an announcement about a year ago, and I have the masters ready, and they're going to be coming. I am making the two-wheel drive conversion that will for the MPCs that are going to be,
Oh,
you know,
perfect.
I got that happening, so we'll be coming out with that very soon. I've recently had, I think with
Cool.
this truck coming out too, I think I've had a few people contact me and are you going to be coming out with that? Yes, I am. I've got all of it, and it's direct. You can get the Deserter. I always say what's the other? You got the Deserter, which is a GMC, and the Chevy version with the Stepside
Sod Buster.
Sod Buster. The Sod Buster. Um, these conversion pieces for the front end are direct replacements. It works with those. They're made to work with that chassis. Would it work on this chassis? You know, I imagine some fiddling around, but
No.
that's
Well, I
for
mean, you could make it
that's for
work,
another
but
that's for another genealogy video.
the advantage that this kit has going for it now is that this is the only one in 25th scale of the 73 to 70 or yeah, 73 to 80 pickup because the MPC version has been modified for the 81 to 87, which is what you get in the Sodbuster and the Deserter. Um, and then those are also only 4x4. So if you
Yes,
want the earlier body with the two-wheel drive, and this is what you get. And you can
exactly.
mix and match your parts. You can make a 81 plus two-wheel drive. You can make a 73 to 70 or 73 to 80 4x4 with this cab and chassis. Like, I mean, and then with aftermarket parts also available, you can pretty much build them all now.
Yep, exactly. No kidding. It's an open world for us model car builders and model truck with all this neat
Right.
stuff
It's a
going on.
great way to have fun.
Oh, gosh, yeah, that's why we do it, right? Well, I tell you, Chris, this was a great presentation. I really I learned a bit on this one. And but yeah, this was
I
a
was hoping that you might learn something.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely. It's actually I got a couple of kits I want to dig out and take a look at now, but this is a neat truck kit. Boy, it really they got the mileage out of it. I'm really I
Oh
can't
yeah.
I think BG has a Billy Carter version. I'd like to take a look at that. I want to see some of the stuff in that. It's got my curiosity. I would love to have gotten a hold of one of those. I remember Billy Carter very well. He was a funny little man. He was kind of getting into some mischief and stuff, but he just had a gas station down in Georgia, and he just was a colorful character. He brewed his own beer, and for a while he was selling had Billy Beer it was called. And that kind of when that came out and that model kit came out, he was a character in the news back then. But great job, man. This was really cool. That was enjoyable. I'm definitely looking forward to getting a hold of one of these. Like I said, I just love the box art. I don't know if
Oh
I'll
yeah.
build it. I want it for the box art. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah,
I'm very curious to see the
it
tires
is.
they have
It's
in
pretty
that and
cool.
these new wheels. Which
Well,
those wheels,
I think
they're
BG
very
has one
80s
of these
looking.
too, doesn't he? Doesn't BG have one of these? And Chuck
Yeah, they
too,
both got it.
I think.
So
I'm sure
I'm
one
gonna
of
have
them
to.
might let you look at it.
Yeah, I know. And I was over there last night for the model meeting. I should have told them to dig those out and look at them, but we had other things going on. But yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. There's another one in the books. That's number 2. We've got already. We have like a
Number
couple
two.
more in the kind of pre-production. Been talking about that are going to be really neat. And this is a conversation down in the comments below. Please, if you have any information or we're open-minded. If there's anything might have been said incorrect you want to put in, we'll listen. We'll listen. Be nice about it. Not nice about it, we're not going to bother
Well,
with you. But
and
we're wanting to learn too, because we enjoy this stuff, right, Chris? And we really like this. So I love getting all the input from everybody. And our next episode, whatever we're covering, if anybody's got some cool stuff, they can get in contact with us. You can contact either Chris or I through our Facebook Messenger and send us pictures if you got anything that can help us tell this story even more. If there's more to it, we've got a few good kits we're gonna investigate their
yeah,
genealogy, because that's what we do on this show, right? It's model car genealogy.
right. And I'll plug while I can, I guess. I
Yeah,
actually
please
have
do.
a full in-depth article on this kit family on my website, The Sprue, which will be linked in the video description, and it's
Will
been
be linked.
updated to include the most recent reissue. So if you
That's
want to have more information about like what is in the box, what colors and they're molded in, what numbers and years and everything like that, it goes a lot more in depth than what we've covered in this video here. But yeah, so that's there if you want to read up on them. And also, I am open to if I've made any errors in that article, please let me know, and I'll update it accordingly.
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Chris. This is fun. We always have a good time. He's a busy guy. I'm really grateful that he takes the time to do this with me and for us, and I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Chris. Great having you co-host this show. And well, everybody,
All
I want to
right.
thank you all for watching, and go over and check out. Have you been doing any videos, by the way, on your channel? Have you been working on your channel at all? I'm telling you
No,
guys, this
I
dude,
haven't.
he's rolling all the time. He's a truck driver, and this guy is, away from home a lot. And when he gets home, he wants to spend time with his family, his children, and it's really cool that he takes this time to take his passion and share it with us, because it's our passion too. So everybody, just want you to appreciate him for that, and we'll get the next one out.
Thank you.
And again,
Yeah,
but he does have a channel, right? Your channel. Plug your
yeah.
channel. You
Uh,
plug your.
model car review. I have 2 videos so far, and I keep threatening to make another one. Maybe I'll follow through on that one of these days.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, just now go ahead and get yourself a hold of one of those. Geez, I want to build one now. Now that it always happens.
Me
We
too.
talk about them out. I
I
want to build one now. I
Yeah.
got
Now
this
I
stuff
gotta
in the
finish some
bag.
of my projects that I got on the go.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everybody. And you
Thank
want to
you.
say it. You want to say it, Chris?
Who's the producers?